Hi, it's Bob from w126parts.com. Look, I'm not saying that this is the live-all, end-all of working on a c126 sunroof, and I know the majority of the problems are that the roof gets stuck and you can't even get as far as what I'm showing. But in case you've never done it, this is some great ideas as to a parts car I was working on, trying to get that one fixed. So I figured I'd show you, and maybe it'll help you out. Um, if there's something else I could do for you, feel free to reach out to me. Hi, it's Bob from w126parts.com, and we're working on how you take an SEC sunroof out. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to bring the sunroof, back a little bit. Doesn't have to be like a tremendous amount. And then there's going to be some clips that are going to be right under here that you're going to pop out to get this piece of fabric out. You got to take that out first. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And once you get those four out, now you're going to bring your sunroof back more. And you'll see the clips underneath here? I don't know if you can see them there. But I made sure all those are done. And now we got it back about, I don't know, 3/4 of the way. Now we're going to bring this up and out. Now you don't want to pull too hard on it, just kind of wiggle it back and forth. And eventually your entire piece is going to come out like this. You'll notice with this that my lip is not flipping up, but you can feel that it's stuck. And my guess is that it's a little broken. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove screws 1, 2, 3, 4, and this will remove this top piece. But you can see that this side has already been jerried with. But I'm going to remove those next. Now in removing these 4 screws, you're going to see 3 of them are sheet metal screws, but this front one is a machine screw. So that's the one that goes right here. Now, once I remove that, then I can slide this bar up and out. So now there's the bar. And you can see like all this is just hard as can be. Once I remove that bar out, then you're going to see that there's this small little piece right here. This is it just sits in there, and it's held down just by this little edge right here. But you'll notice the rounded part is in back, squared off part is in front. So now I've gotten both of those removed. So now we're just looking at the material right here. This is what goes around from your roof liner. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the other side apart. Now also, to make this a little easier on myself, I've got kids, so occasionally I have to walk away from a job that I'm working on, so I always mark on the back of it where it is and what direction it's going, just so that I can easily put it back together. I know it seems intuitive, but sometimes you get pulled away on something and the next thing you know, you forget where a part goes. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm bringing the sunroof all the way back forward and tilting it up so that when we're on the inside, we now have the 2 bolts up front, and then you can see that there's 2 more right here that's holding the whole sunroof in. My AMG t-shirt or sweatshirt. Thank you, Yash. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be removing the actual top here. So it's these 2 right here, and then these 2 right here, and they're all 8mm. So as you can see, I have taken off both of these right there, and then up front I've taken off these. Now I made sure that I could see where the bolts went, so when I put this back together, it'll be put together the same way. While you're at it, I have noticed that sometimes I find these where the little clips are broken along the way. I keep that in mind, you know, that you want to check those to make sure that those are in one piece. So now I'm going to take apart this side, and then we're going to lift this whole sunroof off. Now that I've taken it off, you can see these go in the rails, and this isn't half bad. It's still got a little bit of moisture to it. And then here's the other side, so they used to sell these separately, now they don't. And when you put this back on, you gotta it's gonna be a little tricky because you gotta get these things to line back up with where it was. But as you can see with this, when I'm taking it apart, once you take the rail off, this is gonna come right out, no problem. So you won't have a problem putting this in or getting it back out. Anyway, so here's what your pieces look like. Now, unfortunately, this is still supposed to be prop riveted onto the sunroof, which it is not on this side. You can see where the pop rivets broke. And then you look and you go, well, what's going on with the other side? Oh, it looks like the other side has never had one on there. So obviously that's part of the problem that was with this sunroof, was that they just took these parts off and never put them back on. So next I am going to be taking off these sunroof arms. So you'll see underneath, they're being held on by these 3 bolts right there. You can see it better probably on the other side. So I'm going to take those arms off. And this piece is actually where usually when you buy an aftermarket piece it goes wrong, because see how flush this is with the part above it? You got to make sure that your new one's that flush. Next, I'm going to need to take off the header bar, which is pretty simple. It'll just unscrew from both of these. Header bar itself just lifts right out, as you can see right there. Pretty straightforward, and you can tell that this side is the one that's not sealing correctly. Once I get that, then I can go back to work on these arms. Probably the easiest thing to see is, you'll see where right there it ends and it goes up. What you need to do is just real gently pull back a little bit, and then it'll come out. So you can set it up here. You do the same to the other side, and then you should be able to pull this straight out. Get it a little way out, you'll see you'll be able to slip this past it. And remember how this is held on is right there. You just got to line those up, and then this whole thing will pull out, and you can clean that and lube that up. So now you can see I've taken that out, and this is what I'm talking about. Now this one's got a little gasket on the side. The other one was actually missing it, so I'm actually going to be replacing that because that'll give a tighter fit. But it comes right out of this part right here, and you'll see how it's got a notch on it right there. Alright, so now we're going to get these arms out right here. So now to get the arm out, there's 3 screws. There's one here, there's one right there, and there's one, I don't know if you can see it, but it's all the way back there. And that's going to need a really long screwdriver to get to it. So I'm still working on getting the arm out, but I realize there's a couple other things I got to do before I get to that point. So this is the bar right here that pushes down. You can see how it's got marks on the top. So this is what pushes down, that holds this down, because usually this would flip up. So to get that up, I'm going to have to pop this out, and it does just pop out, but you got to hold this piece of plastic when you do it, so you can get it out. So after you get all 3 of those screws out, you're going to want to take this, kind of move that out of the way, and then you're moving the whole plastic piece forward, but you got to be careful that you're not putting too much pressure on that plastic piece. But once you move it forward enough, then you're going to find that you're going to be able to clear right here, and then this arm will come out.